Cats. They're the most popular pet in Canada and one of the most invasive species in the world.
Across the country, we're looking at around 100 to 350 million bird deaths annually attributed to cats.
What do we do when it turns out our favorite companions are natural-born killers?
Oscar!
Rosie!
Oscar!
This is so ironic because I came over to talk to you about cats,
Oh.
and now your cats are gone.
I'm sorry.
What are they doing? Where do they go?
I don't know.
So, you know, I've been on the fence about getting a cat because when I was young, I had a cat and I loved it.
Okay.
But then I found out that they really are a problem for wildlife. They kill a lot of wild birds. Is that something that you've experienced?
They are catching them. They're alive. They bring it into our house.
Really?
And one of our kids tries to save it.
And I've noticed there's quite a few.
There he is. Oscar!
Hi! Good eye, Shannon. Growing up, it seemed natural to let cats roam outdoors. But now, knowing how bird numbers are plummeting, I have to wonder, are our feline friends really to blame? And what can we do about their catastrophic impact on wildlife?
Hi,
Emma, I'm Sarika.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Yeah,
too.
thanks so much for coming.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, we're gonna meet some cats today, Shiva and a few semi-ferals.
Oh my goodness, this is Shiva. Look at those colors.
She's a muted Torby.
She's gorgeous.
What's your ideal cat? What are you looking for?
I guess what I'm looking for is trying to recreate the cat that I had when I was a kid. So I have kids now, and they love animals, and I have a soft spot for cats.
What kind of life would you offer?
I used to think it would be nice for a cat to be able to go outside. I've heard that it's kind of bad for the environment because they're killing wild birds. So I'm not sure.
For some cats, because they have been domesticated over generations, they aren't as street smart, and it's really risky out there. Looking at the science and the risk and the bad cases that have come in and we've had to rehabilitate, those are all reasons that we look at adopting to indoor-only homes. It can be controversial because many people want to give their cats that outdoor time.
Cats should be allowed outside.
I think they should be allowed to go outdoors.
I would never let my cat out.
They're outdoor creatures. They're still wild at heart.
I grew up on a farm, and I think animals should be outside.
I have two cats. They've been indoors all their life. They're the happiest cats.
I think if they've been outside, it's hard for them to not want to go back outside.
Keep them indoors, save their lives, save the birdies' lives.
A lot of places, indoor, outdoor, or outdoor cats are actually pretty controversial for a number of different reasons. Some of it has to do with what cats do when they're outside wandering in their neighbor's yard. Some of it has to do predation at bird feeders. We ran a survey, and people either really liked cats and really sympathized with them and understood why they needed to go out, or they really hated cats. The people who want cats to do cat things, to go outside and catch things, are cat owners. The people who do not want that are non-cat owners. That's a really difficult political, social situation to be in. Cats really originated in the Near East. There's a lot of speculation that they self-domesticated in the sense that they were attracted to granaries. Grain brings in a lot of rodents. And so cats were like all-you-can-eat buffet at a very concentrated place. And humans started to tolerate them because benefits. If you were on a ship, lots of people brought cats with them because they would keep the rats out of food stores when you were shipping around. And so cats literally started to travel around with humans because they were a net benefit. The things we don't like about them now, their hunting prowess, was actually the reason we started to adopt them in the first place.
Some people would argue that that's just their natural instinct. It's just cat behavior.
Exactly.
It'd be so interesting to see what they're up to.
Totally.
You know, because I've talked to a lot of cat owners and they're like, oh, my cat's lazy. It doesn't do much.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't kill any birds.
Yeah.
But what we find when we put cameras, they have a whole other life.
The Vancouver Cat Count is a study that's trying to use wildlife cameras in order to estimate the amount of outdoor cats that are here within the city of Vancouver. Now, this kind of study is really important because when we look at the rates in which birds are dying across these urban centers, one of the biggest causes of these mortalities is cat predation. And so we as scientists need to be able to back up this estimation with actual on-the-ground data. We had like over 1 million photos across, residential sites, park sites, industrial sites. This site right here, we have already a hit with a cat right front and center, getting nice up and close to the camera. But on top of the other cats that were present at the site, we also had a coyote sighting, which was very shocking, like very, very alarming, because those are one of the larger mesopredators that are going to be in direct conflict with cats when they're in an outdoor setting. But what was most shocking for me about this site specifically was that there was one cat in particular that I wasn't expecting to see on frame, and that was my cat, Kita. Yeah, about 1 kilometer away from where he was let out, he was actually spotted on camera.
Are you ever worried that they're not going to come home?
Yes, they've been gone for maybe 24 hours. Yeah, I do worry about it.
Well, I actually have a motion sensor camera. We could set it up in your yard. Okay, so now I guess we just wait.
Awesome.
When we look at, studies that have tried to quantify bird mortality, there are around 5 major causes for this huge number of bird mortalities, and the second major cause is cat predation. We have rough estimations of around 100 to 350 million birds annually that die. Now that's across the country. And so how do we look at the city level and start to understand what cities are actually contributing to this high amount of bird mortality across the country? And with the Vancouver Cat Count, we're able to do that by estimating the actual population of cats that are outside at any given time. So with this study, we're looking at around 30 to 50,000 outdoor cats. Well, we know from other studies that look into the cat behavior and cat ecology that cats are capable within an urban setting of killing anywhere between 1 and 36 birds in a given year. So on the low end, we're looking at Vancouver being responsible to 30 to 50,000 bird deaths annually.
There's a lot of controversy over the kill ratio of outdoor cats around birds, around mammals, and indeed the literature is very mixed right now. We need a lot of studies over a lot of different ecosystems, over a lot of different cats with very accurate measuring. That's expensive. Research dollars are really hard to get these days.
Correlations between numbers of birds and numbers of cats, it's a very difficult one to do because birds move around so much. But we can probably say that if there's more cats outside, and we know that cats catch birds, that there's more predation happening. It's a very, very tricky thing to determine that. We heard of how the team in Vancouver were doing their study, and we wanted to do something similar. What we wanted to do is wanted to find a project that almost any medium-sized community could do where there's the interest and motivation. If you can get a few cameras and you have volunteers to manage them, and we can provide a methodology on what to do, and you have a cégep or a university or a college in your community, there's capacity there. So all the pieces can be put together with relatively little funding.
Et ce qui m'a surpris le plus, c'est le nombre de chats errants qu'on a estimé à Gatineau. On estime que se situe à quelque part entre 8 000 et 32 000, je crois, donc autour de 20 000 en moyenne. Ça fait beaucoup, beaucoup de chats.
This is like a real participatory science project where people get to be involved in stuff like this that can end up having a positive outcome.
You can see it with your bare eyes. It's about halfway along that branch. Can you see it? When you hear birds doing these alarm calls, it normally means that they've spotted some kind of predator. Often it's an owl, it could be a hawk, it could be a cat. As someone who's owned cats that have gone outdoors, I know that not all cats are bird killers. Whether it's as high as some of the estimates go, it's going to be really hard to prove that. But even if the cats only caught one bird a year, the number is way too high. The research into the impact of cats on birds has often focused on the pet cats, but it is now focusing a lot more on the feral cats because, of course, they do have to hunt to eat. Feral cats now are believed to be the greatest predator on birds.
A feral cat is essentially from the domestic stock, but they've never been socialized. Cats have an imprinting period where you have to have the species that you're going to see as your species with you, exposed to you, in order to accept them. With cats, it's prior to 6 weeks of age. So, for example, this kitty, luckily being found at 3 weeks of age, way early in the imprinting period, he thinks I'm part of his family. He doesn't mind me doing this, right? A feral cat would never allow this. If we didn't catch him prior to 6 weeks, he wouldn't be able to become a wonderful, lazy little house cat that he's going to become.
So in here we have our semi-ferals that came in about 2 weeks ago. I say semi-feral because they were a part of a colony that was living mostly on their own outside. You could see her hiding up there. We're working on getting her to trust people again.
And are there times of the year where more people bring their cats in for adoption?
Previously, maybe pre-COVID 2020, we were seeing and expecting more cats coming in between March and May. That was usually kitten season. But it's really closely linked to climate change. So cats go into heat, and the heat essentially causes their productive timeline to be longer.
I was not expecting climate change to come up.
Yeah,
the
it's
hormonal
wild.
changes of domestic and feral cats. Yeah. So you're saying that now that the climate is changing and it's warmer at different periods of the year, you're seeing kittens who are
all year long,
all year round up for adoption. That's fascinating.
Cat toothbrush.
So this is a high-vis collar that is designed to go around collars of cats. And the idea behind it is that if you put this onto your cat, it creates a very high visibility signal that taps into the color vision capacities of birds and makes the cat really apparent or visible to birds.
Hello. He's 14 years old. We found him starving on our property when he was about a year old.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been here ever since.
Now, what is this around his neck?
Oh, that's a Birds Be Safe collar, and that makes cats more visible to birds. His kill ratio of birds went way down when we got one of these.
Really?
Yeah, and we've been using these collars for at least 8 years.
So what we did is we enlisted the help of some people in Prince George, and we had a study where we had them put the collars on their cats, let the cats out as they normally would, and then report the number of birds that they were returning back to the house. And then they take the collar off and let the cat do the same thing for the next week. And we found a significant reduction in the number of birds that were brought back, but not a significant reduction in the number of mammals. And that might tap in a little bit to the fact that birds see extremely well in color, but mammals, other than humans, tend to be similar to what we would classify as colorblind. They're dichromatic. They only have blue and a green cone receptor in their eye instead of a red, green, and blue like people do. And so the collars don't really stand out very well to something like a mouse, but they would stand out a lot to a bird that actually has better color vision than we do.
Why did you decide to get a collar?
I might be a crazy cat lady, but I'm crazy about birds as well. He started life as a stray, and he has never been happy to stay exclusively indoors. He sprays, so we have to let him out a couple of times a day to do his thing. We have 2 other cats that are indoor cats, but they have use of a catio.
A catio?
Yeah, we have a custom-built catio.
This is the first time I've even heard of a catio.
There's a cost to it, so it's not for everyone, but there are a lot of catios that are much smaller than this.
So you're showing me that there is a way to maybe have it all, in a sense.
I think, you know, keeping your cats indoors is the foolproof way, and it's also probably better for their safety and longevity.
Immediately after seeing that data, I actually just started to embark on the journey of harness training my cat. It was quite a lengthy process. It took about 1.5 years in order for him to become comfortable being on a harness and with a lead being outside. We are able to go on walks sometimes just in the alleyway behind the apartment building and through the hallways themselves in the apartment building. But for the most part, my cat has transitioned from an outdoor enriched lifestyle to an indoor enriched lifestyle, which is something that, while it was challenging at the start, it is something that I think has made his life much better.
So what would you say to somebody who says, you know, let cats be cats, let them outside, let them catch birds and hunt if they want to?
I mean, if you adopt a pet, you should be responsible for its safety and the safety of the other animals that coexist in this world. You have to look at the bigger picture. What is the impact that your cat is having in a world that has all sorts of strikes against it in terms of a thriving bird population?
Yeah, because like it or not, I mean, cats are animals and they're interacting with ecosystems, and so we're all impacting each other.
Yeah, let's care about it all.
Okay, I got the camera. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Whoa, that is a lot of raccoons.